are actually more useful in times of uncertainty and change rather than less. Rules work when we know what's going on and we've actually planned for every eventuality. That's not today, and we're all living this. So this is really where these guiding principles can set us up, and both at the level of me, myself as a leadership, what are my leadership guiding principles today? And also then going through a similar exercise with my team where we start agreeing on this. And let us walk you through how this can play out. For example, what we're looking at here is these are some of when they're done well. You want to keep just a few of these guiding principles because we're actually going to have you think a bit for yourselves as we're putting these up to actually capture your own guiding principles. 4 to 5, make them short and easy to remember and explain. Make them specific to yourself with your team and really have that focus on the next 30 to 60 days and adapt them as the situation changes. Elizabeth, what have you noticed in terms of when these are done well?
Well, I want to jump in on that last one as the situation changes. The key here is to develop principles around things that are pressure points, right? If you want to keep it short, where could things get out of sync? Where could things go wrong? Where could people fall into distrust? And what would help them to know where you stand and how you operate? One might be if you're not getting clarity from above, that you will provide a working plan rather than wait for direction. Within the team, it might be, well, actually, Anton, I think you have some examples. The key is to focus them on the pinch points where things could get out of alignment or people could fall into distrust.
So what we thought we would do is as you can imagine, we work with a lot of teams on these and we have a few that are our favorites. But while we're showing you these and talking to these, use them as a guide. If you want to use them, feel free, but come up with some for yourself that may work as we're going. And particularly some of you that may have dealt with this already or have these, please do share in the chat. What are some of your favorites? What are some that you find really help you? And I'll kind of kick off with this one first of the assumed misalignment actually came from a team that were working under an incredibly high pressured situation. There was a compliance legal issue going on, and they were trying to bring together a lot of different groups, and they kept finding this problem of they'd agree on something, and as the person almost walked out the door, they did something that seemed to be completely opposite. And they were finding as a team, they were getting very frustrated by how this was playing out. But as they took on this guiding principle of the assuming misalignment, it allowed them that opportunity to, rather than lead with an aggressive, why did you do that? They could lead with more of a question. I saw you did that yesterday, which didn't seem to fit with what we'd agreed. And it allowed them to very rapidly move on without losing a lot of emotional energy.
So one of my favorite guiding principles is one that we've seen many teams use is who's got the information. It's back to the whole idea of alignment and honesty, that the role of the leader in the view of the teams that we work with in fast changing environments is not to have the answers. It's to lead the team to find the answers.
Yeah. That's a good one.
And you can think of that as more kind of helping the process of getting to the best answers that are in the room. Because that's when consistently we've seen, and this is over decades, we have seen the team outperform any individual in the team. See a nice, few nice examples coming through on the chat here. Assume good intent.
Yes.
Love that.
Excellent.
I was working with somebody just last week where we really got into this question of intent and how actually when we go in and explain why we're saying or doing what we're doing, or we ask the question, why is this happening the way it is? It changes the conversation. And that's true for teams, it's true for one-on-one conversations.
I want to jump to the next one of offer a hand because it's a slightly different one, but this came out from the team where their original guiding principle had been nobody should suffer in silence. And it plays a bit back into what we talked about earlier. For a lot of people, they're going through stuff right now that they may not be in a place where they are raising their hand and asking for help. But the people that know them well and have worked with them well, this is really where simply that reaching out and checking, hey, you didn't look so happy on that meeting yesterday, or you're not looking great. Let's have a chat and see what's going on. Really shifted where it becomes sort of more of a team's responsibility to make sure that everybody is actually managing to cope and deal with all the very individual stuff that we're actually going through and dealing with.
There's a great one coming through. I think it's Erica. Cancel if the meeting isn't necessary or it doesn't have a goal. Yes. And I think whether you're a leader or whether you're just in a team right now, if you're being called into meetings that don't have a clear why, challenge it.
Yeah,
it's your job to challenge it.
Yeah, I love these surprises. Yeah, there's some great ones coming through here. Assuming just projecting what others might be going through on their struggles. I also want to add in, before you go to the expect surprises, one thing I find with the leaders I work with is they know their intent. They know how they're caring for their team and prioritizing that in conversations and trying to solve. But the team in these times, everything's in question. So being really clear about how you are prioritizing their concerns. This would be more of a personal guiding principle. Make that explicit. Let them know.
And I think what I'm loving is I'm seeing some really excellent guiding principles here.